Yeah. So
Uh,
you still live in LA then?
yeah. I've been going to the protests for the WGA a lot
Nice.
because work has slowed down like tremendously. Not so much in the video game world, but in the on camera for sure, and in the animation world, it's kind of starting to slow down too.
Good deal. Yeah, you're involved in some Netflix stuff typically, so right,
Yeah. Blood
like
is huge, right?
animation.
Yeah.
Um, but you've got the Star Trek gig coming up. Congrats on that. Are you
Thanks.
you're a villain in what season 4 of Discovery? Is that what it is?
Season 5, yeah, the final season
5.
coming up
Okay.
in January, I think. They
Nice,
said
nice.
early 2024, whatever that means.
Is there anything you can say about like what the villain's deal is, or I don't know much about the
Yeah, I mean, I can't really
species or anything?
say. Yeah, I can't really. I'm not allowed talking about like what race he is, like alien race he is, because I'm in prosthetics. The whole like he's a alien creature. I can't
Yeah,
say what race he is because it's very specific to the story that they don't want to give away yet.
sure.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I could talk about my experience on it, I guess, but I can't really talk about specifics of the
Sure.
character yet. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So, I mean, you probably grew up watching Star Trek, I imagine, right? You've been on
Oh my God,
The
yeah. I'm a
Expanse and
giant Star
stuff.
Trek
So
fan.
cool. What
Yeah. No,
was
I'm a
your,
huge Star Trek.
did you start with like Next Generation or?
Well, Next Generation was on when I was like a young teen, right? So, th- but my uncles and my dad. I have three uncles. My dad has three brothers, so we'd spend a lot of time together. They were giant Star Trek fans from the original series, so I would go to their house and we would watch like either tapes that they had of the show, or sometimes they used to do this. They never would. There's no point in doing it now with streaming, but channels used to say today's Star Trek day and we're going to do all the top 5 Star Trek episodes in the original series. And I loved those days because they'd have like little behind the scenes like interviews, and then they'd have an episode of like my favorite episode of Star Trek, and then they'd go back and have another. So those days, and then I got really into the original series, like really into it, and I loved it, man. And then the movies in particular, like Star Trek Two, The Wrath of Khan, and
Yeah.
they call it the Genesis trilogy, 2, 3, and 4. Like those three movies, they're I was gonna say literally, but not literally, but figuratively etched into my DNA. Like I know every sound and frame and of especially Star Trek Two. It's my like, my favorite sci-fi movie, and I know it backwards and forwards, and it's such a wonderful film. And so like that passion is definitely still sitting in me. And then Next Generation, I love too. I was a really big fan of Next Generation, but I was always more of a Kirk guy than a Picard guy.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, but I love Riker and I love Worf. And you can imagine being a 12, 13-year-old boy and seeing Deanna Troy every day. And you're like, oh my God, this is what a amazing, beautiful woman is. So there's that. Uh, and then yeah, and then when I was kind of coming into my own is when DS9 started, and I really liked Deep Space Nine. So yeah, Star Trek. It's funny, but it's been this way for everybody. But Star Trek has been there forever in my entire life. There's been a Star Trek to watch, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So it's always been a big part of like the pop culture effect on my life. So yeah, getting a role of this size on a major show is I was telling the cast actually when I wrapped my last day, and when you wrap your last day on a show, they're like speech, like give a speech. And I said something along the lines of people throw out the phrase dreams come true a lot, but this is like literally a dream that I've had that it's come true.
Yeah.
So it was pretty crazy. And the makeup was tough and it was a hard work, but I look back on it. I mean, I only finished it a few months ago, but I look back on it very fondly.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you're like a kid or a teenager, what was kind of the moment that you were like, maybe I could do that as an actor? Like, was that pretty young
I
or?
don't, Matt, I never really had can't recall a moment of epiphany. Like, I'm like, I can do this. I think actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I remember I've always wanted to be an actor, always. Like it's the first thing I remember wanting to do. And I don't think that I knew what an actor was. You know, like I would just be like, I want to be Luke Skywalker. I want to be Captain Kirk. Like I wanted to be those people. I didn't really know what it meant, right? And then when I started realizing what it meant, you know, like my uncles would show me um like Brana movies, like Henry V. The first time I saw Henry V, I was like, whoa, how do I do that? Like
Yeah.
that's amazing. I didn't understand anything what was going on, but I was like enthralled. Kenneth Branagh had a very big effect on me wanting to like learn about acting as opposed to just wanting to be in the movies or whatever. And I remember actually I was I was in Air Cadets. It's like a subsidiary of the Air Force that you go in from 12 to 16 or whatever. Because I always loved planes. Like I was big into Top Gun and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when I joined Air Cadets, I would go every Tuesday. And then at one point, we had a parents' weekend, and me and a couple of buddies decided to do a sketch, like a comedy sketch. And I still remember what it was. It was about a box that when you put things in, they come out bigger. So like people would go in, like we'd throw a kid in, they come out a man, or somebody sneezed in it, and then a giant thing of water would come out. I don't remember the very specifics, but I remember when it ended, there was only three of us in the sketch, me and my two buddies, and Pete came out first. He got a nice applause, and then this other guy, Lee Marshall, came out. He got a nice applause, and then I was backstage, and I came out, and I got this giant ovation. And I remember that moment thinking, okay, maybe I'm good at this. Maybe I'm actually pretty good at this. I don't mean comedy or anything. I just mean like presenting the scene that I'm given or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, however you want to break it down. Right. And I remember that moment. That was kind of an epiphanous moment. But other than that, it's just always been something that I've always wanted to do. I have a friend of mine who called me, a good friend of mine who called me No Plan B Elias, because I never
Sure.
had a plan B. It was never like I
Yeah.
went into anything else. It was just always like, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to figure out how I'm doing it. And that's what I'll do. And I still do that. Like to this day, you know, it's like this year so far, these 5 months of this year have been really tough because the
Yeah.
strike is new people knew the strike was coming and so like video game stuff has been okay, but like my on camera stuff, I've usually done some sort of, you know, FBI or a NCIS show by now. You know, I've usually had, you know, 10 or 12 auditions or none of that has happened because of the strike. So even now, I'm like, well, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to still do it. It's just the
Yeah.
only thing I know how to do. It's just the way it is.
So you start going to auditions at some point, right? And you was the Dead Zone like a pretty big moment for you, that show?
That was
I
back
must.
in the day. That was like, so what had happened was I had got, there are like three steps to my career. I went to theater school. I graduated, had zero, like literally $0. Then I booked like a theater tour that paid me like what I thought was a fortune, but it ended up being like 6 grand or something, not even Canadian. And then I used that and I moved, not moved, but I went to New York for 6 months. You're allowed to visit from another country for 6 months as long as you're not making any money there, right? So I moved down and I did a play off Broadway about Star Wars and ran out of money, completely ran out of money, came home, lived with my grandmother, and and then I got an audition for a Canadian film that was like the second lead. It was my first ever on-camera audition, and I booked it, and it ended up paying me like 11 grand Canadian, and that to me was the most money I'd ever seen. Like that was
Sure.
like I'm
Yeah.
rich. Like that was the greatest amount of money ever, and I used that money to move to Vancouver because that's where a lot of work was. Montreal, where I'm from, there wasn't that much work. And an agent in Vancouver saw that movie I was telling you about and said, if you come here, I'll rep you. And then I moved to Vancouver thinking I just did a lead in a film. I'm going to be, it's all uphill from here. And
Yeah.
then my next role was like one line on Smallville,
Oh,
two
right.
words, 2 words on Smallville. Um, and then Dead Zone came right after that. And even that was like, you know, 3 lines, 6 lines or something like that. And
Sure.
um, it's funny. This business can like lift you up and like you're amazing, and then just smack you back down.
Hmm.
Um, so that's what it was. It was like I'm the lead of a film. I made $11,000. I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
And it's like Homer says, with $10,000, we'd be millionaires. Uh, um, and then that $11,000 lasted 3.5 months, and then I was
Yeah.
making like I made like $800 on Smallville or something like that. So suddenly I'm like, oh, I need an actual job. That's how that happened. That's how Dead, and then Dead Zone happened. It didn't pay very well. None of the Canadian shows pay very well, but I would get like a bunch, like back to back small roles, and then the roles became kind of guest stars, and those paid much better, but not great. Like Supernatural and Smallville and
Yeah.
things like that. And then I would build up these like this reputation in town of like he's a really good actor. He'll be solid. He'll show up. He'll know his lines, all that kind of stuff. So and I hopefully keep that reputation of like showing up on time, knowing my lines, getting the scene done in a good way, not being an issue because people have so many issues with
Yeah.
on a set, right?
Sure.
And yeah, that's what happened in the on camera, and then just built and built and built. And then I went to Toronto for a bit, and then I came down here to LA.
Nice. And then Need for Speed Carbon, that was what, your first game probably?
First game, and it was interesting because I auditioned for it as a on camera actor. Like they didn't do a voice acting thing. They did an on camera thing, and then they it was so early. It was like 2000. Was that 2006?
Something
Something like
like
that.
that, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So it was like they had us in a big green screen studio, and they filmed us like it was an on camera job, and then they took that and put that in the game.
Sure.
Like, it wasn't any sort of digital performance capture or anything like that. In fact, I had to shave my arms because the camera would pick up hair that it couldn't figure out what to do with. So all of us
Distorted.
shaved our arms. Yeah,
Nice.
it was very weird. They were trying this new thing, and it worked for the game. But that was my first game. And here's a weird thing: with all the games that I've done, and the reputation I have in games now, when I did that game with the on-camera stuff, there was there was a like moments in game where you play with the character, and the character says things like look out, and that's not me. They had somebody else do that.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, why would you? I can do it. And they're like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
You're a on camera actor. We have our voice actors. It's so funny now thinking back at that. I wouldn't let that happen now. I'd be like, no, you're not
Sure.
doing. I'm not doing this unless I do both. But back then, I'm like, yeah, sure, we. And that was the first game I did. That was actually in Vancouver, and then I moved back east to Toronto, Montreal, and that's where Deus Ex happened in Montreal.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you did a couple of them, right?
Yeah,
Like
but the
two of them.
first one, yeah,
Or
in 2008 or whatever it was, or 2007 when I auditioned. Um, I didn't know what it was. I mean, they didn't tell me what Deus. I knew what Deus Ex was because I'd played the game on my dad's PC, but I didn't know what it was when I auditioned. And then that game exploded, and then I would just continually get auditions, and then all the people know you, right? Like Toronto, that's how we did all the Assassin's Creed games. All the producers knew me, and like, yeah, it'll be good, that kind of thing.
yeah. It's funny your career, you've kind of been through this whole process of like in the Xbox 360 era, there was kind of this attitude of like people like Vin Diesel doing like the Chronicles of Riddick game or whatever. Like movie and TV actors didn't really want to bother with video games, but now it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
video games are like the biggest thing in the world, right? So it's this funny kind of
Here's the thing, man. I'm this game that I'm in. I can't say what it is yet, but somebody told me the budget. It's coming out this year, and it's like 250 million, like something ridiculous.
yeah.
And I'm like, 1% of movies have that budget. But how many like games come out like that a year? Like so many. Assassin's Creed has like $100 million budget or more around
Yeah.
there. It's crazy. It's crazy. So that idea of, I think it's done now. That idea of like you can't do this. I was just
Yeah.
talking to um um come on. I'm trying to remember his name. Ethan Peck. I was talking to Ethan Peck yesterday, who plays Spock on Strange New Worlds,
Yeah.
and he's slow game. He's just like a workaday actor like me, right? And I was talking to him, and he was saying, "Yeah, I'm doing another game now." So this is a guy that his father is friggin' Gregory Peck. He
Yeah.
does a game. He does Star Trek, and now he's doing another game. And he's not like, I'm gonna kind of keep it under the down low. He doesn't care. He's like, I'm doing a game. This is amazing. I think it's
Yeah.
maybe a generational thing. Like that generation that mocked that is either like out of the business, or they realize now that our generation and the generations below us, they love games, and games are
Yeah.
a huge part of the entertainment industry. So yeah, I mean it's the way it is now. Anybody can do. You'll start a game and there's like, oh, it's Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like those type of things. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember he did a corny little like Christmas rom-com on Netflix. It was like the most charming thing in the world, It's
yeah,
like why not do that and just kind of, cater to different audiences, and you can get the
yeah. And also
Star
working
Trek
actors like
audience too.
him. Yeah, working actors like him, and most of the guys, most actors, I'd say 90%, they're just working actors, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Like they'll take a role and they'll be like, "Hey, I made all this money for this season of Star Trek, and what's next?"
Mhm.
And then you try to just keep working. That's really all it is. You're not, unless you're in that 10% where you're like, I made $20 million for this movie. I don't have to do anything unless I really, really want to do it. It's not how it works. It's very expensive to live pretty much anywhere now. But like in LA or New York or these acting hubs, it's really expensive to live. You have to keep
Yeah.
making money, and you have to keep making good money. And so you're really just a working actor. And guys like Ethan and me and most of my castmates on Discovery, and all the people, I was at a picket line yesterday, which is where I talked to Ethan. But like all of these guys, they're all just like, okay, what's next? Like, what's next? What do we do next to make money?
Mhm.
It's just the way it is. But my point is that you do that and you go, well, I'll do a video game, and
Mhm.
there's no shame in it. It's not like I'm
Yeah.
doing a video game for money. I'm going to hide. I'm going to do a video game. This game is huge. It's $200 million budget. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Or I'll do a Hallmark movie. Why not? There's Hallmark movies watched by millions of people.
Yeah. And they're
Like these
really
things,
entertaining. Yeah.
these shame things are gone now, I think, in the business
Yeah.
to a degree. Like you're not going to, I did actually turn down the other day an audition for something where like this priest was like, it was a horror movie, and the priest was like gonna molest kids or something. And I was like, I don't
Yeah.
want to deal with that. Like I always want the money, but I'm like, so you'll always have things you want to turn down. But for the most
Sure.
part, there's no shame in the medium anymore.
Mhm.
The medium is games, voiceover, on camera, stage. None of that has any shame. Is the part good? Let's do it.
Yeah. What was I played a lot of Fortnite, but you did a character for Fortnite. What was that character like? Do you
I
remember?
did two characters for Fortnite. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a great thing about being a voice actor is they cast me for this character Ragnarok. He's like he was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
popular for a while.
I
But
remember.
Fortnite now is like they reboot themselves every 3 months. So
Yeah.
uh it's it's hard to see who's popular anymore. But so Ragnarok was one of them, and he was just a like a badly accented Northern Brit, like Viking guy. It's like Bruto, that guy, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then I was there doing that voice, and they said to me, "Hey, we have this other character, and he needs like a gravelly kind of like military guy." And it was this character named the Major. It's only in
Oh right.
There's two versions of Fortnite. There's like Save the World, and there's the Battle Royale.
Yeah.
And the Save the World is like a campaign that you can play, so there's a story.
Mhm.
And the Major is in Save the World. I think you can play him in Battle Royale, but he's in Save the World, and he's
Yeah.
just like a soldier major, like that guy, like that
Yeah.
type of thing.
So you recorded that
As,
years ago at this point, right?
yeah, I recorded. Well, Ragnarok I recorded in like 2019, and the
Yeah.
Major we did all the way through COVID, but I haven't done him in a while. But that whole team and I are friends because I direct a lot of Fortnite,
Oh, sure.
so
You
I
do the
voice
VO.
direct sure
Nice.
a bunch of Fortnite actors. Um, So I'm like, I don't care if they don't give me any more of the major. It's fine. Like I work with them like twice a month on directing whatever the new, whatever the new part of Save the World is, or the new,
Nice.
like I directed Kid Leroy the other day. I had no idea who he was until I asked my daughter, and then she told me. I'm like, oh, okay, great. He's a superstar. That's fine. Uh, he was fine. He was late, but he was fine.
You remember The Long Dark? That's like a sort of another
Yeah.
Canadian studio. So did you guys like know those guys from way back or
I didn't know those guys. They approached me because they wanted like I guess like the bigger actors from Canada because it takes place in Canada. So they
yeah,
called Jen Hale, David Hayter, Mark Meir, and me.
nice.
Um, and we all actually when they called me to do it and I agreed to do it. It was many years ago. It was like 2016 or 2017 or something. And then they had all these stories come and they said, you're coming, I promise you're coming. We sold the game on you being in it, like through
Yeah.
the all that kind of stuff. So then it was only a couple of years ago, like 2020, during COVID, I remember that they actually finally brought my character in, and I loved him. He's like the bad guy of the season 4, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's like
Nice.
a psycho, and it was really fun to play.
Yeah, I know they've
Um,
done like an episodic expansion model, but I haven't checked
yeah,
out. I played it when it was really early access, and it was really cool. But
yeah, they've added a lot of stuff. Those guys are great. The is it Hinterland?
yeah, yep,
Yeah, those guys are amazing. They're like they listen to the community. They even ask questions of the community. They have these like dev boards. You're like, let me know what you think, and then
yeah,
they re-add that kind of stuff. It's great. They're really good. They're not cheap. They didn't like they met my rates. They didn't do any like, well, we're a low budget game. They didn't do any of
yeah.
that. I get that shit all the time. They're like, well, what do people pay you? Okay, that's what we're paying you. Like that kind of thing. It was really,
That's awesome.
yeah, they're really cool. Yeah, yeah.
You did Fallout 4 and The Last of Us Part 2, two of my favorites. Do you
Those are
remember
small roles
doing
though. No,
pretty
those are
small
tiny
roles?
little.
Yeah,
So when I got to LA, the first thing you want to do as an actor is meet casting directors. So even though I have all these massive things on my resume and leads, and I just said, just send me in for like Spider-Man also. I used to play a bunch of New York City cops in the
yeah,
first Spider-Man game.
yeah,
And I don't remember Fallout what I did, but Last of Us, same thing. It's just got you'll hear in the background things like oh yeah, it's like I'm really hungry. Like things like
yeah.
just in the background or whatever, that kind of stuff. That's
Okay,
all I did. And I didn't know anybody then. And but you want to meet, I wanted to meet the Naughty Dog people. I wanted to meet and that's how you keep building your relationships, right?
awesome. Yeah. So I mean, Gotham Knights, that was a little bit bigger role though, right? So you did the
That was a
Penguin.
big role, but that was a great example of what I was saying earlier was all of those people that worked on Gotham Knights had worked with me on some other game and they just called me and they asked me if I wanted to do the Penguin.
Nice.
And of course, when you're an actor, you're like, yeah. And then you hang up the phone, you're like, how the hell am I going to do that? Like, I
Yeah.
had no idea. I was just like, yeah, I love to play the Penguin. I love, me, I'm a giant Batman fan. That's crazy. Amazing. Oh, thanks for calling. Okay, cool. Call me when the script's ready. And then I hang up and I'm like, how am I going to do the Penguin? I didn't even really think about that. And then actually, it's funny because I had a meeting with them and I was my idea to kind of make him like an East Coast, like Batman, you
Yeah.
don't even understand like that kind of thing. And that was before we had seen anything from Colin Farrell's Penguin
Hmm.
of being like this East Coast mobster. So I'm not saying like we had the idea first or anything. We just had it at the same time. Like I didn't
Yeah.
see his thing, he didn't see mine. And then I was like, oh man, he's doing a New York thing. Everyone's gonna think I ripped him off now because the game's coming out like a year after the Batman. But I didn't rip him off. It was just our idea of doing like upper class used to be a driver type guy, and now he's not specifically a driver, but used to be like a thug, and now he grew up the ranks and became Oswald Cobblepot. And I love that like little thing, like what's the line? Batman, they think they had a handle on this city, like that kind of thing. I
Yeah,
love that like lilting thing. It's one of my favorites. So I love playing the penguin. That was really fun.
that's awesome. Yeah, it kind of seems like a nice evolution from like the Danny DeVito days, but making him a lot more, realistic, like real world.
Yeah, and then they had Nolan's character of making him like a same thing except British. Like very very similar to my kind of accent, like a guy who grew up in a more of a street thuggy part of town, but he just made it British. And they were like, you
Sure,
can do anything you want, just don't make him a Cockney guy, because Nolan is doing that in the other universe, in the
sure.
Suicide Squad Arkham games universe. So I was like, okay, all right. And then that was my their only caveat. And luckily they liked my idea. Imagine I came with some weird idea. I'm gonna make him a South African, a white South African guy. Yeah, they like the New York thing.
So you still you talk about Deus Ex a lot, like you sort of joke about it on Twitter and stuff. Is that something you think
Yeah,
is like in the foreseeable future, maybe, or is it
dude.
pretty
I'm
silent?
I'm not even kidding. And a lot of people, because I get it, because when we were doing Mankind Divided, for a year I was like, I don't know anything about it. I don't know what's going on. So when I say like I really have no idea if we're ever making another one, a lot
Yeah,
of people think I'm under NDA, but I
yeah,
swear on my children, as of this point, May 20th to 2023, 11 a.m. PST, I have no idea. They haven't
yeah,
called me, they haven't asked me. I heard that once Embracer Group bought it, they said to them, we want to make another one, but
yeah,
I don't know if that means a reboot. I don't know if that means without Jensen. I have no idea. Of course, I want to come back as one of my favorite characters. Uh, and I love the Deus Ex community a lot. And so I would love to come back and do another one. But honest to God, they have not asked. They have not checked
yeah.
in with me. They have not even. So I have no idea. And I really hope that it comes around.
Cool, man. Yeah. So, is there anybody like looking back at your career? Is there anybody who kind of gave you a big break that you sort of remember fondly or anything like that? Like that,
Yeah, I mean, I
sort of,
remember I could mention. I mean, Deus Ex was a big break in the voiceover, and then the performance capture world. They kind of mixed together. Deus Ex was a big one. So those guys, like Steve Shep and Mary DeMall and Shepkowski, sorry, I call him Shep, uh,
yeah,
and Mary DeMall and David Alfonsi and JF, yeah, those guys, they all had to agree on giving me the voice, giving me the role. So I owe them a lot because it did. I don't know why, but Adam Jensen hit in the zeitgeist of video games in this
yeah,
weird way at first, where he just was suddenly, he was like, there's the Halo guy, there's the Assassin's Creed guy, and Adam Jensen's in that mix now. And the fact that he was very unexpected. And, we took it and ran with it. So those guys for sure in the voiceover world. For me, it would be in the on camera world. There's this guy, Matt Hastings, who directed that movie I was telling you about, the first one I got out of Montreal, and he cast me in that and then started introducing me around town. I would not have had the on-camera career that I had, that I have, or the resume that I have, if it wasn't for him casting me in that first role and
nice.
then helping me through it. And then he would cast me like he was the showrunner of Alphas, which
Oh,
is a
okay.
show that was on. Remember that show? It's a really good
Sort of.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It was like a show. It was like Agents of Shield before Agents of Shield,
yeah.
before the whole Marvel universe, like 2000. No, it was not before the whole Marvel because this is like 2015, so it wasn't before the whole Marvel universe, but it was before the TV stuff, and it
Hmm.
was just a bunch of people who had powers, and they're like a corporation. And I was the bad guy of season two, and Matt gave me that job. Matt Hastings gave me that job. He asked me to audition, but it was him who and that led me to meet some Star Trek people and some other things. So it all it all entwines
Awesome, man.
with other characters and things, with other people in the business and stuff like that. So, but I would
S-
always think Matt and the Deus Ex guys are the two
So,
that kind of gave me the break.
like when people ask you for advice, you just sort of, you know, be fun to work with and learn your lines. Is that kind of what you tell them, or
The best advice of being an actor is show up on time, know your lines, hit your marks. That's you really need to you do need to hit your marks, but that's not really a piece of advice I need to give. But show up on time, know your lines, don't complain. Like complain actors that complain. Like I'll tell you something I can talk about on Star Trek. My character took 4.5 hours every day to get the makeup on. If I had to do my hands, it was 5.5 hours almost. Because most of the time you wore gloves, but there are a few episodes where I didn't have gloves on and the hands were painted. So that was another hour, right? So I would have to get there at 2:30 in the morning and everybody, it's dark. Nobody's there except the makeup people. Of course, and the COVID test people at this point. Poor COVID test
Sure.
people had to wake up and test me at 2:30 in the morning. Um, and then I would sit in this hot, heavy, sticky makeup for 16 hours a day. Not pleasant, not fun. And then I would watch Doug Jones, who does the same thing that I do. And he's been doing it for decades. He's a legend in the business. Never complains. Never complains. Always shows up on time. Always knows. He's very tired. You'll say cut, and you'll see him like slump. And he's like, oh. And then he'll complain to me because we're allowed to complain to each other. But it
Yeah.
wouldn't be like it's not like a complaint like, oh, I wish these guys would get their shit together. It was like, man, I'm tired. This thing, it's getting to me. The shoes are getting to me today. You're allowed to do that,
Yeah.
but never missed a beat, never missed a line, never complained to the higher ups, never was a difficult person to work with. And I looked at him, I'm like, if he's not doing that, I'm not doing that for sure. But to be fair, I wouldn't do that anyway. Like, don't complain. You're doing a job, whether you're a co-star or a lead, you're doing a job half of the world wishes they can do.
Yeah.
The idea of going there and complaining about it, complaining about your hours, or it's like, fuck off, man. Like these, you're so blessed to be here. You can complain about money with your agent. You can complain all that stuff. That's fine.
Yeah.
Just show up, be there. Don't make anybody's life miserable or even remotely difficult. Like I have a thing that I do, and I'm not. This is not like virtue signaling, but I have this thing that I do where at the end of the day, I'll take off my wardrobe and I'll hang it on hangers, which seems like a thing you're supposed to do anyway. And then if the wardrobe truck is like where I'm walking to my car, I'll just bring it to the wardrobe truck. And I'll go,
Mhm.
here, guys, here's my unit. And they're like, oh my God, you're so amazing. You're so nice to do. The fact that you even hang up your clothes is amazing. And I'm like, who is not doing that?
Yeah.
Like, these guys are here longer than me. You know, they get here first. They put my clothes in there. I do my day. I take off my clothes. They have to wash it, do everything, and set up the next day. So it's like, and truck and drivers and set decorators. It's like all of these people are working so hard for a lot less money than you're getting as an actor. Don't complain. Don't be a diva. Don't be that's my biggest aside from know your lines and show up on time. My biggest thing is don't complain. Don't be a burden in any way. In fact, if you can go out of your way not to be a burden, do that.
Yeah.
Just don't. That's would be my advice. Clearly, I'm passionate about this
Awesome.
issue.
Yeah. Well, awesome, man. I mean, good luck and congrats on season 5 of Discovery, and I look forward to your huge game project that's coming out later this year. I feel like I have a hunch what it is, but we won't go there.
Yeah, just don't say
Um,
it yet.
but yeah, no, I'm happy for you, and I look forward to checking that out. So thanks so much for doing this.
Oh, thanks, man. It was really fun. Anytime.